Have you ever wondered why your prayers go unanswered? Why no matter how many times you ask, the universe remains silent, as if your words vanish into the void? Perhaps it's not that the universe isn't listening, but that it's waiting for you to remember how to truly speak its language. There is a hidden law woven into the very fabric of creation, one that Jesus himself revealed in a single simple phrase: ask, and you shall receive. Yet most who repeat these words have never truly understood their depth. They ask with their lips, but not with their soul. They hope, but do not believe. They speak of abundance while vibrating in lack. The truth is, the universe does not respond to words. It responds to states of being. Every thought, every emotion, every small act radiates a frequency that shapes reality around you. You are not a beggar before the heavens. You are a co-creator, constantly sending out commands through your energy. The universe does not deny you, it mirrors you. But here lies the mystery. If this divine law is so powerful, why do so many still live in struggle and scarcity? Why do prayers fall silent when hearts are sincere? Could it be that the act of asking itself sometimes blocks what we seek? There is a secret hidden between the lines of those ancient words, a truth about how the universe actually listens. Once you understand it, you'll realize that receiving is not about waiting. It's about aligning. And when you discover what it truly means to ask, you'll never speak to the universe the same way again. Have you ever had a moment that felt too precise to be random? A sudden chill that ran down your spine right before the phone rang? A dream so vivid it left your heart racing, only to find its images reflected in your waking life the very next day? Or maybe, as you walked down a familiar street, you felt an invisible nudge, a pull that made you turn left instead of right. And that single decision changed everything. We call them coincidences. But deep inside, you know they're not. They are whispers, messages from the same intelligence that holds the stars in their orbits and makes your heart beat without you asking it to. They are signs from the universe, subtle yet deliberate, reminding you that there's a dialogue constantly unfolding between you and something far greater. Most people ignore these signs. They dismiss them as chance, as imagination, as wishful thinking. But those who pause, who listen closely, begin to sense that there is a pattern, a rhythm, behind every accident. Think about the times when life seemed to fall apart just before a breakthrough, when a door slammed shut and another unexpected one opened moments later. At the time, it felt like chaos. But later, when you looked back, you realized that something, or someone, had been quietly rearranging the pieces for your good. You've probably felt it too. That strange, indescribable knowing that tells you you're being guided, even when logic insists otherwise. Maybe it came in the form of a dream that lingered in your mind for days, or a sentence from a stranger that struck you as if it were meant only for you. These are not coincidences. They are invitations. The universe speaks through vibration, emotion, and intuition, not through the noise of thought, but through the silence of awareness. Still, we've been taught to doubt it. We've been told to ignore the gentle inner voice that says, wait, or go now, or this person is important. We are trained to believe only in what we can measure, weigh, and predict, yet every major turning point in life begins with something we can't. And so we walk through our days half awake, surrounded by messages written in the language of the soul. A song that plays at the exact moment you need courage, a memory that surfaces out of nowhere, urging you to forgive. A sudden pain in the chest when you're about to make a wrong decision. These are the ways the universe speaks, softly, persistently, through the fabric of ordinary life. It never shouts, but it never stops speaking either. What if the signs you've been ignoring are not random events, but responses? What if they're the universe's way of answering a question you forgot you asked long ago? And what if, just maybe, everything you've been searching for is already speaking to you right now, waiting for you to remember how to listen. There is a hidden truth behind every sign you've ever received, a principle so ancient yet so simple that most people overlook it completely. The first great secret is this: the universe does not speak in words, it speaks in resonance. Every emotion you feel, every thought you allow to take root, becomes a frequency that the universe mirrors back to you. It is the reason why a person who lives in fear attracts more situations that confirm that fear, while another who walks in quiet faith finds doors opening where there seem to be none. The universe is not punishing or rewarding anyone. It is reflecting them. This truth is woven through every sacred teaching in history. Jesus hinted at it when he said, "According to your faith, it shall be done unto you." The Buddha taught it through the law of cause and effect, that what we dwell upon, we become. The mystics of old knew it as the divine mirror. Every ancient tradition, from the desert prophets to the sages of the East, carried this same message. You are the sender and the receiver of the same vibration. When you ask for something, you do not simply make a verbal request, you broadcast a frequency. The universe or God, which are one and the same, receives this vibration and responds in kind. But here lies the hidden mechanism. If your request carries the vibration of lack, then lack is what the universe must echo back. Imagine a person who prays for abundance, but feels secretly anxious about money. Their prayer may sound sincere, but their inner world hums with fear. The universe does not hear the words, "I want abundance." It hears the vibration underneath, "I am afraid there won't be enough." And so, more scarcity appears, not as punishment, but as proof of the frequency emitted. Now consider another person, one who gives thanks for blessings not yet visible, one who lives as though abundance were already present. Their vibration is gratitude, certainty, peace. And what does the universe mirror? More reasons to be grateful, more confirmations of abundance, more open doors. This is the first secret that changes everything. You do not receive what you ask for, you receive what you are. When Jesus said, "Ask and you shall receive," he was not speaking of verbal requests. He was teaching alignment. To ask is not to beg, it is to become. It is to harmonize your inner world with the reality you wish to see, until there is no difference between your prayer and your being. It's like a radio. If you want to hear a certain song, you must tune your dial to its frequency. You can turn the knob and whisper your desire all you want, but unless you match the signal, the sound will never reach you. The same applies to the energy you send to the universe. You may think of yourself as separate, small, powerless, but you are the transmitter of divine energy. Your imagination, your emotions, your very breath are extensions of the creative force that spoke galaxies into existence. The words you speak shape the field around you, but the feeling behind them determines their power. Think of it this way. When a child asks a parent for food, there is no doubt in their heart that they will receive it. That innocent certainty, that pure trust, is the vibration that moves the universe. When you ask with fear, the energy is divided. But when you ask with faith, the energy is whole. That wholeness is what creation responds to. And this law does not discriminate. It works for everyone, every time. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are already manifesting through it. The relationships you attract, the events you live, even the challenges you face are all reflections of the vibration you carry within. This is why transformation does not begin by changing the outer world, but by refining the inner one. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions become coherent, your frequency rises. And when that happens, the universe aligns effortlessly because it no longer needs to resist your contradictions. That's the hidden meaning behind "the kingdom of God is within you." The kingdom is not a distant place. It is a state of alignment where your inner vibration matches divine truth. When you understand this, you stop asking the universe for things and start communicating with it. Every choice, every act of kindness, every moment of gratitude becomes a conversation. If this truth resonates with you, take a moment to show gratitude now. Leave a like and subscribe to this channel, not as a routine action, but as a symbolic gesture that says, "I am part of this circle of awakening." Together, we are a community of souls, remembering the laws that once governed the temples of old, the sacred knowledge that says, to receive, you must first become what you desire. But this is only the beginning, because once you understand this first law of resonance, another question arises, one that goes even deeper. If our vibration creates our reality, what happens when fear, envy, or doubt distorts that vibration? Years ago, I went through a season of silence. It was one of those times when life feels like an unanswered prayer, when every effort seems to vanish into emptiness, and you begin to wonder if heaven itself has gone quiet. I remember sitting alone in my small apartment one night, the city lights flickering through the blinds, feeling that strange combination of exhaustion and faith that only those who've been broken can understand. I had been asking the universe, or God, as I prefer to call it, for a change. Not for riches or fame, but for a sign that my life still carried meaning. I was tired of pretending that everything was fine while feeling invisible to the very source I prayed to. Every night I would whisper, "Please show me that you hear me," but nothing came, no sign, no shift, no miracle. Until one evening when something subtle happened, so small that I almost missed it. That day had been heavy. Work had drained me. My relationships felt distant, and hope seemed like a memory from another life. I walked home through a narrow street, head down, lost in thought. Suddenly, I noticed a little boy sitting on the curb with a torn backpack, staring at the ground. He couldn't have been more than 7. Without knowing why, I stopped. Something about his stillness spoke to mine. I asked him if he was lost. He looked up at me with wide, clear eyes and said, "No, I'm just waiting for my dad. He said he'd come." There was something in his voice. Absolute certainty, no trace of doubt, no fear. Just pure belief that his father would return. I stood there for a moment, silent, watching him wait in perfect peace, as if time itself had no power over his faith. And in that moment, something inside me cracked open. It was as if the universe had used that child as a mirror to show me the truth. I had been asking yes, but I had been waiting in doubt, not in trust. I had been praying like an orphan instead of a child who knows their father always keeps his promises. Tears filled my eyes. I crouched beside him, my voice trembling. "How do you know your dad will come?" I asked. He smiled, shrugged, and said, "Because he always does." That single sentence struck me harder than any sermon or book ever could, because he always does. That night when I got home, I sat by the window and whispered again, but this time my words were different. "Thank you," I said. "Not please, not why not me, just thank you." I thanked God, as if what I longed for had already arrived, even though nothing had changed on the outside. But something had shifted inside, the vibration, the resonance, the alignment. Within a week, things began to move. The project I had been waiting months for was suddenly approved. A friend I hadn't spoken to in years reached out with an opportunity that would change the direction of my work completely. And the heaviness that had haunted me for so long began to dissolve, replaced by a calm certainty that I was being guided all along. I realized then that the universe had never been silent. It was me who had been too busy listening to my fears to hear its answers. That child on the curb was not just a stranger. He was a divine messenger, reminding me of a forgotten truth. Faith is not about waiting for evidence. It's about believing despite the absence of it. Since that day, I started to notice signs everywhere. A feather on the path when I felt lost, a line in a book that answered a question I hadn't spoken aloud, a sudden feeling of warmth in moments of despair, and every time I recognized one, it felt like the universe was whispering, "See, I never left you." I share this story because I know you've had moments like this too. Maybe you're in one right now. Moments when you question whether your prayers have been heard, when you're tempted to give up because the silence feels unbearable. But perhaps that silence is not absence. It's preparation. Maybe the universe is simply waiting for you to believe like that child did, with unshakable trust. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about a time when something beyond logic guided you, a dream, a coincidence, a feeling that turned out to be right. Those were not random. They were answers in disguise. If this story resonated with you, I invite you to share your own. Write in the comments the sign, the dream, or the moment that made you feel you were not alone. Tell me what the universe has whispered to you. And in the next video, I might share your experience with our community. Because here, we are not just viewers of a channel, we are a circle of souls awakening together. And as I learned that night from a small boy with a torn backpack, sometimes the universe speaks loudest through the quiet faith of those who simply believe it always will. There is a second secret that few ever come to understand. And once you do, your entire relationship with the universe begins to change. While the first secret teaches that the universe mirrors your vibration, the second reveals how to align that vibration consciously. How to send a message so clear, so coherent, that creation itself cannot help but respond. The universe, like an ocean, moves through currents of emotion and intention. Every wave of thought, every spark of feeling, sends ripples through that infinite sea. When you think one thing but feel another, your signal becomes scattered, like trying to speak through static. But when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in harmony, the water stills, and your reflection becomes clear. This is the essence of the second secret: coherence. It's not enough to ask for something with your mind. Your heart must speak the same language. You cannot say, "I am abundant," while your chest tightens in fear every time you pay a bill. You cannot pray for love while resenting the person who hurt you. The universe listens to the whole of you, not just your words. So how do you align your entire being? How do you send a message that the universe can unmistakably recognize? You begin with awareness. Take a moment right now and close your eyes. Think about something you've been asking for. Maybe peace, healing, purpose, or abundance. Picture it clearly. Now, as you hold that image in your mind, pay attention to your body. Does your heart expand or contract? Do you feel warmth or a subtle resistance? That feeling is your energetic language. It's the truth of what you're actually communicating to the universe. If there is tension, doubt, or fear, it means your inner frequency is not yet aligned with what you desire. The goal is not to force positivity, but to shift from asking in lack to asking in gratitude. Here's a simple technique I call the living prayer, a way to embody the state of receiving before it arrives. Breathe deeply. 3 slow breaths. Feel the air filling your lungs as if you're inhaling light itself. Visualize your desire as already fulfilled, not as a wish, but as a reality. See yourself living it, walking in that new reality. What colors do you see? What sounds surround you? How does your body feel? Whisper words of gratitude, even if nothing has changed yet. Say thank you. Feel the warmth of those words vibrate through your chest. Gratitude is the purest form of faith. Release it completely. Let go of the outcome, as if placing your request into gentle hands that you trust completely. This simple practice reprograms your frequency. When you feel gratitude before seeing results, you tell the universe, "I already trust that it's done." And in that trust, you align with divine timing. When I began practicing this, I noticed small synchronicities appearing almost immediately. A message from someone I hadn't heard from in years, a door opening in a place where I'd once been rejected, a sense of calm replacing anxiety. It wasn't magic, it was coherence. The outside world began to reflect my inner belief, just as it always had. But now, I was finally in tune. The more you live this way, the more fluent you become in the universe's language. You stop chasing signs and start recognizing them. The right people appear at the right time. The delays that once frustrated you start to make sense. And the silence that once hurt begins to feel like peace. Remember, the universe does not need you to be perfect, only honest. If you feel fear, acknowledge it. If you feel doubt, observe it without judgment. Awareness itself begins to transform your energy, because when you bring light to a shadow, it cannot remain the same. You are not separated from the source you seek. You are the instrument through which it expresses. Every act of kindness, every breath of gratitude, every step taken in faith becomes a signal that resonates across the infinite field of creation. And if you ever wonder whether your prayers matter, remember this. The very act of desiring something noble means the universe has already placed it within your reach. Your longing is not proof of absence. It's evidence of alignment in progress. The second secret, then, is this. You must feel before you see. You must live in the energy of your answered prayer, not the emptiness of your unanswered one. When you do, the universe bends, not because you forced it, but because it recognizes itself in you. If this message has touched your heart, take a moment now to breathe, to center yourself, and to show your alignment through action. Subscribe to this channel and join our growing community of souls walking this same path. Here, you are not alone. You are part of a living circle of awakening, a place where faith meets understanding. Because there is one more secret still hidden, deeper, older, and far more powerful than the ones revealed so far. A secret that explains why even the most aligned souls sometimes face silence before the miracle. And when you discover it, everything you believe about receiving will change forever. There is a secret deeper than all the others, one that the mystics, prophets, and enlightened souls of every age tried to describe, yet human words can barely contain it. It is the realization that shatters the illusion of separation, the moment when you finally understand that the universe you speak to has never been outside of you. The great revelation is this: you are not asking the universe. You are the universe, asking itself. When Jesus said, "The Father and I are one," he was not speaking in metaphor. He was revealing the ultimate truth of existence, that the divine does not reside in some distant heaven, but in every heartbeat, every breath, every pulse of consciousness that moves through you. You have never been praying to something external. Every word you've whispered in the dark has been an echo returning to its source. That is why the moment you stop begging and start believing, miracles begin. Because you are no longer speaking to a power outside yourself. You are activating the power that has always been within. For centuries, humanity has misunderstood this truth. We were taught to look upward for answers, to kneel before an invisible sky. But the true temple of the divine has always been inward, the living sanctuary of your awareness. Inside you is the same creative essence that breathed stars into being. Inside you is the mind of God, dreaming in human form. This is not arrogance, it is remembrance. You were created in the image of the Creator, not as a copy, but as an extension of that infinite imagination. When you imagine, God imagines through you. When you love, God loves through you. When you ask, it is God asking himself to awaken through your experience. And that is the highest act of creation, to realize that the asker and the giver are one. Every time you doubt, the universe pauses, not to punish, but to mirror your hesitation. Every time you believe, even for a moment, heaven rushes to meet you halfway. The barrier was never out there. It was the thin veil of forgetfulness between who you think you are and who you truly are. An eternal being capable of commanding creation through the vibration of love, gratitude, and faith. Do you see the beauty of this design? You were never meant to chase signs or decode hidden patterns in the sky. You were meant to become the sign, the living evidence that God walks in human form, dreaming the universe awake through your choices. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions unite under that awareness, something extraordinary happens. Reality bends, time slows, synchronicities multiply. What once seemed miraculous becomes natural. You begin to live in the flow, where prayers turn into knowing and knowing turns into creation. This is the mystical point where spirituality meets quantum truth. The physicists call it observation collapse. The mystics call it faith made visible. It means that your attention, your focused awareness, literally transforms potential into reality. Every moment, infinite possibilities exist before you like unformed light. When you look at one with love, with belief, it takes form. That is why fear manifests chaos and faith manifests miracles. Both are acts of creation. One collapses the wave into darkness, the other into light. If you have ever felt that your desires were impossible, remember this. Impossibility only exists in the absence of faith. The universe itself is faith made visible, an infinite intelligence trusting itself enough to become stars, oceans, and you. This content, these words, are born from that same trust. They are not written for profit or praise, but as an offering of remembrance. If this truth has stirred something inside you, if you feel the faint memory of who you truly are awakening, then I ask you, from the heart, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and become part of this living community. We are not followers. We are seekers, dreamers, souls remembering their origin. Each subscription, each like, each comment of gratitude is not a number. It is a spark of light joining the circle. Together, we are restoring the language of faith to a world that has forgotten how to listen. Because once you remember that you are not separate from the source, your life changes completely. You stop trying to attract what you want and begin to radiate what you already are. The universe no longer feels distant. It becomes your reflection, your dance partner, your own divine echo. And as this realization deepens, a new question arises, one that only the bravest souls dare to face. If I am one with the universe, what then is the true purpose of my desires? The answer to that question holds the final secret, the one that reveals why you were given the power to create at all. And when you understand it, every request, every prayer, and every breath will take on an entirely new meaning. Everything you have heard in this journey, every truth, every revelation, has led to this one simple realization. You were never waiting for the universe to hear you. The universe was waiting for you to awaken. All along, the signs, the dreams, the coincidences that tugged at your soul were never random. They were gentle reminders from the divine intelligence that lives within you. An invitation to remember your origin, your power, and your purpose. Every unanswered prayer, every season of silence, every twist in your path was preparing you for this moment of clarity. You are not separate from creation. You are its continuation. Look back for a moment. Every time you were on your knees, whispering into the dark, something heard you. The same force that spins galaxies and paints sunsets listened to the vibration of your heart. And even when you thought nothing was happening, everything was rearranging in ways you couldn't yet see. The delays, the detours, the heartbreaks, they were not punishments, they were alignments. They sculpted you into someone capable of receiving what you once could only imagine. That is the great paradox of life. What feels like absence is often the universe's most profound form of love. Because when the noise fades, the whisper becomes audible. When everything is stripped away, the divine within you begins to speak. The signs around you are not external decorations of fate. They are reflections of your consciousness waking up. The world mirrors your awakening. The more you believe, the more it confirms that belief. The more gratitude you feel, the more reasons it gives you to be grateful. Every heartbeat is an echo of divine imagination, reminding you that existence itself is the proof that love never stopped creating. So if you've ever doubted your place in this vast mystery, let this truth anchor in your soul. You are the proof that the universe has not given up on beauty. You are the living prayer, the voice through which eternity speaks. You were born to co-create, to transform ordinary moments into sacred experiences. When you forgive, when you love, when you help a stranger or choose hope over despair, you shift the vibration of the entire field of creation. That is not poetic exaggeration. It is the physics of consciousness. You are part of the divine circuitry of reality itself, and perhaps that is why you found this message today. Maybe it wasn't chance. Maybe something within you recognized its own reflection in these words, a faint memory that whispered, "I remember this truth I've always known." That recognition is awakening. That moment when the heart expands and the world suddenly feels alive with meaning. That is your soul remembering who it is. So, as this chapter closes, take a deep breath. Feel the rhythm of life moving through you. That pulse is God reminding you, "I am here, I have always been here, and I am you." Now, before we part, I want to invite you to make this moment sacred. If these words resonated with your heart, if they helped you remember even a fragment of your divine nature, then leave a comment below. Write your name and your city so I can send you a special blessing and mention you in the next video. Let the world see how far this community of awakening souls reaches, how light spreads from heart to heart across countries and oceans. And if you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe to this channel. Not because it helps algorithms, but because it strengthens this circle of light, a community built on faith, love, and remembrance. This work exists not for profit, but for passion, for the joy of sharing what cannot be sold. Truth. Your presence here is part of that mission. Together we are more than viewers. We are a living network of consciousness, each one of us a spark of divine intention remembering itself through one another. So tonight, as you close your eyes, don't ask the universe for another sign. Instead, whisper this: "Thank you for choosing me to awaken." And in that quiet gratitude, you will feel it, the subtle shift, the sacred stillness, when heaven answers without words. Because in the end, the greatest secret of all is not that the universe listens to you. It's that you were the universe listening all along.